There's nothing like experiencing music live and in person. But at this moment, stages are dark as the COVID-19 pandemic threatens the very existence of live music venues. On Destination Live Music Comeback Road, we're going inside some of West Michigan's favorite music spots to discover their rich histories, take a look behind the scenes, hear how the pandemic is affecting them, and how you, the fans, can show your support. Join us on the path to Destination Live Music Comeback Road, West Michigan.
I'm John Sinkevics with Local Spins, and on location with the crew from Destination Live Music Comeback Road, and we're here today to talk to Tami VandenBerg from the Pyramid Scheme. So first off, how have you been holding up?
It's been an extremely difficult year. We have done the absolute best we can. We have hustled and worked to survive in any way that we possibly can.
So since you were last featured in October on this Comeback Road series, what are some of the major changes that have taken place since then for you here at the Pyramid Scheme?
Quite a bit. So we were very reluctant to reopen last year. We did not reopen again until around October, and we had outdoor seating. We just weren't clear how many people want to come out and sit in the road. And so there were a lot of factors we were weighing, but we decided, all right, we'll just try it, and if nobody comes, we'll just shut it down. So we did, and that worked out quite well. And by quite well, I mean we lost slightly less money. But then not long after that, we were shut down again, and then reopened in February. Now we have another grant pending through the state of Michigan that we access through the Michigan Venue and Promoters Association, that's been a really, really exciting development. We talked about NEVA a lot last time, the National Independent Venues Association, and then we also created a Michigan one. Miraculously, we won. We were trying to get 10 million, we got 3.5 million. But it was an amazing win, and we only did it because we got organized and we worked together and we put aside every competitive bone we have in our body, because we're normally all competing. And so it's like, put all of that aside, focus on survival. We all need to help each other survive. So those funds should be released next week.
So that's already happening now. That's the good news. On the flip side, Congress passed the federal legislation to provide some funding for venues and theaters across the country in December, and yet nothing seems to be happening. What are you hearing, and how frustrating has that been to not see anything coming from the federal government?
Right now, that is my greatest frustration. Again, we organized throughout the country. In terms of the funds that were finally approved at the end of December, the Save Our Stages Act, significant funds, $15 billion, I believe, for that, and could be just beyond a lifeline for venues. You could potentially get up to 45% of your 2019 revenue. So that would just change everything and not make us whole, but really, really make up for a very significant amount of what we sacrificed last year. It was approved, and there it sits. Here we are, beginning of March. Venues have closed for good during that time, which to me is just so brutal. It's like the people that get killed after the war is done, and they just didn't get the message yet. I was on a call yesterday, and the SBA just says, yeah, we just don't have the capacity right now.
No even timeline at this point.
There is no timeline. Yeah, it's just heart-wrenching watching more and more venues just close for good.
So it's your understanding that if this money came through for the federal government, that would really be the lifeline you guys are seeking and really keep you guys open and operating. What about if it was just the state funding that comes through, $40,000? What will that allow you to do?
That will allow us to go into less debt.
Would there be anything that the average citizen and the music lover here in the Grand Rapids area could do to sort of put more pressure on the government in order to release some of those funds?
Yeah, I think the best things that folks can do, once again, is contact your elected officials, particularly at the federal level. Representative Meyer and Stabenow and Peters are the reps in this area. and senators. So contacting them, letting them know that you really do care about this and you really do want this industry to survive. Yes, I mean, the public, the music-loving public should be outraged.
So as you mentioned, NEVA and a lot of other organizations and the venues have really pushed to get this through and spent months and months and a lot of effort to try to get this money passed. And a lot of people realize now, oh, they got their money. I think a lot of people out there in the public are probably thinking, oh, it's all done and it's great. Now the venues can get back to work. And yet at the same time, that missing link is there. Everything's happened, but yet at the same time, that last piece of the puzzle hasn't happened. We haven't gotten the money.
This is a beyond urgent situation. We need these funds. We need this application released. We need these funds released to the community. It's the community's money, and it needs to go back into the community immediately.
So you've got Pyramid Scheme has a bar that can operate at a minimal capacity at this point just to keep the doors open, but the music venue part of this has not been open in more than a year. Based on your current thinking and what you're seeing in your crystal ball, when do you think live music might return to the Pyramid Scheme?
As of now, we have quite a few large shows on the books. October, November, December. Nobody knows if any of those are actually going to happen. I'm hopeful. If we could do 200 capacity, I think we could make some of those work. But we're changing all of the deals. The old arrangement was generally you would have your guarantee and you pay that regardless of how many people show up. That's not happening. No venue can afford that now. So moving towards door deals, based on, because we don't know what's going to happen. I'm still going to fight for this year and do a few shows.
This could forever change the way in which the relationship between venues and artists takes place?
I think, as I've been thinking about trends and things that will be different for a while, it's going to be a venues market for a little while because, again, we've lost so many. We've lost a lot of venues. So there are fewer places for people to play. You are going to have agents and musicians fighting for dates. I also think as we're ramping back up, I think we're going to see some kind of unprecedented opportunity for local and regional artists as we fill in dates. Usually you're booking 3-6 months out for the national. So I do think there's going to be some great opportunities for local artists to get on stages that they may not be able to headline in a normal situation.
What's the biggest challenge in getting back to the way things were pre-COVID, or is that ever really going to happen? Does that feel like it's almost an impossible task to get back to the way you were?
It does not feel impossible to me. I'm an eternal, optimist and glass half full kind of person, but people are so excited to see live music. You just cannot, there is no way to do it. There is no way to get that same experience and feeling about music than standing right by that stage and watching it right there. I think people are coming back. I think the biggest obstacle is these vaccines. We have got to get these vaccines out.
So this weekend, the state is allowing 50% capacity in bars and restaurants and in music venues, if there are any that can actually open up. So what does that do for you? Is that a step in the right direction? Does that make things more viable for the Pyramid Scheme to continue doing what it's doing?
The two major changes were we can go from 25% capacity to 50, and then we had a 10 p.m. curfew, which we can now go to 11. That extra hour, that's 3 more bills we can pay just with 1 more hour, especially Fridays and Saturdays, which is when we're seeing the most amount of people. I think just any increase, even if it's, feasibly not a massive difference, it brings us hope. But again, our bread and butter is the music.
So what's the best way that music fans and fans of the Pyramid Scheme can help this venue and help the employees and help the staff? I know you guys sell merch, but what would you recommend?
We've got fabulous T-shirts, all different designs, most of them designed by my brother Jeff, who's an incredibly talented artist. We have pinball, but we have it here spread out, distanced. And we also rent out pinball machines. So that's been another lifeline during this really, really hard year. At one point, our only revenue was renting pinball and selling T-shirts. And if you're comfortable, come in and have a beverage. We'll be opening up the outdoor space in April. If you're comfortable outside, if you're comfortable inside, we are open Wednesday to Saturday. Every dime you spent here gets us closer to the music. And don't forget about us, keep us on your mind and stay tuned for when we are able to relaunch.
Well, Tami, keep the faith. Hang in there. It's been a long haul, but there are a lot of people out there that love the pyramid scheme, and I know that they can't wait until things get back to at least somewhat a stage of normal. So thanks so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, and thank you.